Have you ever wondered how the data you entered into your computer or smartphone goes from being a raw input or meaningful output? What processes and stages are involved in the transformation?
Hello, and welcome to the world of information processing. Today will be your guide in understanding the phases of information processing cycle.
But first, let's ask the question.
What is information processing?
Information processing is the process of changing or converting information into meaningful form. Information is a processed, organized, or classified data which is useful for the receiver. Information is the processed data which may be used as is, or may be put to use along with more data or information. The receiver of information takes actions and decisions based on the information received. Collected data must be processed to get meaning out of it, and this meaning is obtained in the form of information.
To better understand the information processing cycle, let's take a look on how a human processes information through the five senses. It's most comparable to how a computer works.
We use our senses to gather information about the world around us. Senses refer to the ability to see, taste, touch, smell, and hear. Our sense receptors send signals to the brain. The brain analyzes the sensory information and tells the body what to do in response.
If the person hears music, the ears send information to the brain, then the brain processes that information and tells that person how to respond. But how is this similar to a computer?
To a computer, there are four phases of the cycle to process information: the input, process, storage, and output.
For a computer to perform useful work, the computer has to receive instructions and data from the outside world. The computer receives data and instructions during the input stage of the information processing cycle. Useful information results when appropriate instructions are applied to data. Applying instructions to data takes place during the processing stage of the information processing cycle. To avoid having to re-enter data and instructions or reprocess information, computers can save information. Saving information on a computer occurs during the storage phase of the information processing cycle. This is followed by the result in the output stage. Computer processing cycle is a similar process with similar steps by which data is fed to a computer.
Therefore, similar to how a human processes information through input, that is senses, receptors send signal to the brain like how a computer accepts raw data and how both process those information to have an output.
Input is the process of entering data into a computer. Feeding the collected raw data is the cycle for processing. This is the raw data which is supplied for processing and obtaining information.
So, would typing on a keyboard can be considered an input?
Yes, input can be done by utilizing various devices such as keyboards, mouse, flatbed scanners, barcode readers, joysticks, digital data tablets, and electronic cash registers.
That's right. When you type on your keyboard, your keystrokes are being captured and transformed into digital data.
Processing is the process of performing operations on the data.
What happens after you've inputted information into a computer or device? How does the system turn that raw input into something useful or meaningful?
Once the input is provided, the raw data is processed by a suitable or selected processing method. This is the most crucial step as it follows for the processed data in the form of output which will be used further. Processing is usually done by a CPU in a computer. CPU is the crucial component for getting the operations done.
Storage is the process of saving data in a soft physical form. It is where the computer takes the input and stores it in its memory banks. There are many ways to store the data, but the basic process is as follows. First, the CPU writes the data to the computer's temporary storage or the random access memory. Second is the computer then waits for the user's command to move the data from the RAM to more permanent storage. If the command is given, the computer writes the data to the disk drive. Lastly, the computer saves the data in a location on the drive.
Output is the result obtained, or in other words, information. This is the outcome, and the raw data provided in the first stage is now processed, and the data is useful and provides information and no longer called data. This might be further used for data visualization. This can be used as it is or used for further processing.
So, output is when we get to see the result of our processing?
Exactly. It's where the information generated throughout the cycle is shared with others or used in decision-making processes.
To sum up everything that has been stated, there are four phases of the cycle to process information.
Input is when the computer receives data and instructions.
Process is when the computer applies instructions to data to produce information. Saving the information for subsequent use or use in future occurs during the storage phase of the information processing cycle.
Output is when the computer sends information to people in a usable format.
So there you have it, the fascinating journey of data from input to output in the information processing cycle. If you ever find yourself in a tech talk, you'll have the inside scoop on how it all works. Now go forth and impress your friends with your newfound knowledge.
Iya Roman, lagi orang ayo. 1, 2, 3, go.
But first, let's ask the question, what is information processing?
Go.
To better understand about
1, 2, 3, go.
So juicy.
1, 2, 3, go.
So juicy. Good typing in a keyboard.
Go.
So output is when we get to see the result of the processing.
X output.
1, 2, 3, go.
Siguro na? That's right. When you type on a keyboard, you're